Oh. Hey, this is Ty.
And this is Joe. Welcome back to the 2B podcast.
And we're two Black educators. We're here to help you learn something and laugh a little
Yes.
bit. You know, what can we do?
Woo! That is our favorite part. And that is why we started this, so we could share our love of learning and laughter with you. So let's dive right in.
Yes, and before we go any further, if you haven't done so already, I don't know why you haven't. Please make sure you're following us on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter at the number two, BE Podcast. That's where you can find us. Oh, and can I share some breaking news?
Oh, I love breaking news.
Breaking news. Guess who's live on Apple Podcasts? Let's go.
Let's go. Come on. Hey,
Right, that's right.
there. We in there.
That's right.
We in there. Hey,
So I can literally say now, I can literally say, listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts, because we're on Apple Podcasts now, Stitcher, as well as Overcast, and so many other platforms. So you can find us anywhere podcasts are being streamed.
This
Yes,
is
indeed.
amazing. Amazing. Listen to us all the time. If you can't make it live, listen to us anywhere podcasts are streamed. Ooh, that got,
Right,
that's
that's
a
right.
little ring to it. Is that just me, or did that just have a little je ne sais quoi? Like, I liked the way that
little
felt.
something, little sauce on it.
Hey, yay, woo! So thank you. Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
So we have so much in store for you. Obviously, we are Black educators, and we are elevating the Black student voice today. And we are
Right.
just so amped to hear their perspective, because, we've been talking about coronavirus over and over and over again, but we haven't had the student perspective, especially the senior student perspective. They were hit right as they were about to arrive at that finish line. So I am thrilled to hear what they have to say.
Me too, because I couldn't imagine. I mean, I just think back to my senior year and all the memories we had. I won't tell you what year, but listen, all the memories that we created that last, semester of the year, that last quarter, especially proms and graduations, senior nights, the senior dances, the senior send off where we get to throw a little prank on the teacher or principal. So all of that, man, good times, good times. We're gonna talk about it.
We are going to talk about it. Before we jump into that, though, we have to, of course, honor George Floyd. And,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry that we keep having to do this. Obviously, it breaks my heart that every week for the past 3 weeks, we have had to have a call to action for one of our fallen brothers or sisters. So if you don't know, George Floyd, on Monday, 12 hours after Amy Cooper called the cops on Christian Cooper, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, after a store owner called the police for alleged fraud, 46-year-old George Floyd was murdered in broad daylight by a former police officer named Derek Chauvin, who kneeled on his neck for over 5 minutes while he pleaded for his life, saying he cannot breathe. None of the other 3 officers stepped in. They have all been released, but they need to be arrested and charged for murder.
No justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace. And Minnesota is taking that literally, and I don't blame them. It's time for a revolution. It is time for a revolution. If you want to take action, please call the number below and make your voice heard. Let's take a moment. Whew. Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you all for doing that with us. Thank you.
Joe, I appreciate the fact that you brought that at the beginning of our show, because you said that you're sorry we have to do this, but we can't be the ones apologizing. We shouldn't be sorry for this. We should do it to ourselves. And I wrote in our post today about George Floyd that, for his last words to be, "I can't breathe," or, and that's just so reminiscent of Eric Garner. And when I looked it up, I said, man, that just seemed like it was yesterday. And it was almost 6 years ago. And so that just continues to prove that this is a reoccurring cycle of events that occurs between Black people, specifically Black men, and the police. And at this point, I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what it's going to take for us to see change. But I do know one thing that I really hope that people take hold of. And I saw that one of my friends posted this, and I'm going to post it later on our social media as well, is that our best way to fight these type of actions is through economic change. Take economic
Ooh.
action. So we need to be then say, okay, you know what? Since certain people don't value our lives, value our voices, they want to pluck and pull from our culture, but not actually give it the respect that it deserves, then we're not going to spend our money there. And we have trillions of dollars in economic power, and we need to utilize that power to the fullest extent. Because, we're thinking about it, we're not in a lot of positions where we have input per se on a political level, on a legislative level, in some places, but we have dollars in our pockets, and
Yes,
where
we
we
do.
spend them is our choice. And we need to make
Yes,
sure
we
that we
do.
spend them in places that are going to value our lives.
And I want to say it's July 7 or 8 that they are calling for a blackout of no
July
people
7th.
of color spending any money.
I will
Any
not.
money.
I will
Do
not
not
be spending
spend
a dime.
one dime. One dime. One dime. Please. Please. We will definitely be posting about that as the time comes. Justin Yard, what can we be doing in Boston? We can be making those phone calls. We ourselves can be holding our police accountable. We can be making sure we are making our voice heard in our elected officials. These are the things that we could be doing here as well, and we could be supporting our brothers and sisters in other states, in other counties, wherever they are. We need to be making our voice heard.
And that brings me back to, another point is that we have to be concerned with voting. I know that some people have become disenchanted with the voting process, especially on a presidential level, because that's the major vote in our country. But the local level is truly where we need to make our voices heard in a voting format. Because, again, we talk about the city councilors, we talk about the school committees, the police commissioners, the district attorneys, all of these folks that play a part in, again, making sure that Black Lives Matter. Those folks need to be held accountable just as much as our presidents. So if you're not voting in those local elections, that's how we're allowing these people to stay in office, get reelected time after time.
Right. Or have the
to nothing
House
to change.
be one way or another, have the House be all Republican, right? So things like that. And we can vote for that more often.
Absolutely.
Even more reason to be focusing on local elections. Those happen every 2 years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We need to ask the questions that need to be asked in regards to what is your agenda? What do you plan to do for the Black community specifically? And a lot of times what politicians like to give us those politically correct responses where they say, oh, well, I care about all people and all lives matter. And we want to ensure that every child has a quality education. And the fact of the matter is we know that there is a certain segment, specifically Black children, Black people who are not being serviced the way that they should be. And
Correct.
things like the coronavirus and COVID-19 have disproportionately affected us in a negative manner. The data shows that. And until we stand up and say, you're not getting my vote until you do something specific for us,
yes,
that's when we'll see some real change. And I applaud,
agree.
I want to say I applaud Charlemagne the God for asking those questions of Joe Biden, presidential nominee Joe Biden, in their interview. Because
Yes.
if we don't ask it, what incentive does any politician have to then actually want to step forward and say or do anything for us?
Right. And if we don't ask it, we can't hold them accountable for whatever answer they decide to say at that time.
Exactly.
So something that you've said before, Ty, before we get to our students, which I really want to do, you've said that we need to check in on each other. So 3 weeks, 3 Black deaths. How are you doing? How are you coping? What do you need?
I appreciate you checking in on me, Joe, and several other friends, colleagues have checked in. I was just speaking with our colleague, Latrell. Thank you for reaching out to me because I really don't know what to say, what to feel. I think I really run the gamut of emotions. I've been angry. I've been depressed. I've been pessimistic. just I keep hearing people, black people, utter the phrase, "We're tired," and I truly feel that right now. I am tired because it just does not make sense. It doesn't. I don't know what more we could do to uh, garner the respect for our lives that we should have been given at birth, that some other groups are given at.
Come on, we are worthy.
And I just there's just so many detractors out there that don't, no matter what action we take, they find an issue with it. I saw some people post that Tommy Lawrence said, what good does it do to riot and protest and tear
Saw
up
that,
your
yes.
city? And I said, and I saw people respond. They said, well, we tried to kneel and that wasn't good enough for you either. You had a problem with that. We tried to peacefully protest. You didn't like that. So
And you
that's
know
all I
what?
can
This
say.
all speaks to exactly what Colin Kaepernick was kneeling for in the first place. If you don't see it now, you're never going to see it.
Never.
He was protesting at the hands of police brutality, not against military, not against anything else.
Right.
Black lives are dying at the hands of the police. It's ridiculous because our lives matter. And when we start acting like our lives matter, then you won't hear us saying these things. You won't see us protesting. There'll be no reason. But until then, we're going to make our voices heard. We're going to make our voices heard.
Absolutely.
And I want to let people know it's okay to be upset. If people tell you that you're not validated and be upset, yes, you are. Yes, you are. 100%. You can be upset. You can be enraged. But I ask you, and then what? And then what? How do you sublimate that into something that brings us to another level of progress and unifying and actually having the worth and value that we truly have and having it displayed in reality?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Whew. Well, thank you for that.
And let me just wrap up. I want to wrap this point up, but let me say this as well. It's baffling to me. It's really, well, actually, I'm not baffled. I'm no longer baffled because I understand the way the system works and the way it's set up and who it's set up to benefit. But you could be an accountant and commit tax fraud, and not only do you lose your job, you're going to jail.
Yes. Right?
As an accountant who didn't necessarily hurt anyone, but you committed tax fraud, so you fudged some numbers, and they sent you to jail for that. So I'm confused then how, as a police officer, when you murder someone who was not resisting, right, who's unarmed, and in so many cases, how is it that you only lose your job? And some people think that's enough. No, you committed murder. No matter if you're wearing the badge or not, you should be going to jail. It shouldn't even be a question
Point blank,
charges are being brought up.
The end. Like our kids would say, period. Like, enough.
Period.
Enough. The thing is, when the cops stop being above the law, we will see a lot of change. But the cops are above the law. They do what they want, how they want, because they know that they can get away with it and continue to get away with it time after time after time.
That's right.
So please make the phone calls. Make the phone calls. Because the person defending this officer already defended an officer that that got someone off for murdering a fellow Black brother.
And not only that, the officer, I forget his name, or I would say it,
Derek, I think.
Yeah, so the officer that murdered Mr. Floyd he was previously brought up for issues with arresting folks where he was overzealous in his abuse of them, and his decision to, or the way in which he decided to detain them. So this is not even the first go round for him. So he didn't learn from the lesson before.
Because again, what is accountability? What is accountability? They do internal investigations. There's no accountability. And that truly is the problem. When you don't have accountability, you fear nothing. You have no impetus to change. Because often just being a better person or a better cop or a better whatever is not enough. So when there's no accountability, I can just do whatever I want, and I'm above you and I'm better than you. And this is proven by me getting away with mistreating you.
Right.
And I did not say his name. It is Philando Castile, the lawyer that is basically on the case for the officer. Derek was the lawyer who got the officer off for shooting Philando Castile. We need to make sure this does not happen. We need to make sure this does not happen again. Enough is enough is enough. We will keep going until our voices are heard.
Text 55156. Text Floyd to that number so that you can garner the attention that needs to be shined
Can you say that one more time, Ty?
Sure. You want to text 55156. You want to text Floyd to that number, FLOYD. And I just did it on my phone for those of you that see we're about action. So that's the first step. You can do that from the comfort of your home.
Yep. Please take action. Take action. So without further ado, because we could go forever about this because it deserves more time, but we are going to get into our amazing, amazing graduates.
Absolutely.
I am super, super excited to introduce Tasneem Zarug, Jewel Prasad, Beisha Osias, and Kalitri Zhao. Excuse me if I said that wrong. I apologize.
Zhao.
Oh, yes, Zhao. Pow. Pow.
Wow. Wow. He's probably like, what?
He's like, what did Mr. A make me do? Oh,
what
no.
Is going on?
Oh, no. So we will let them make their true formal introductions now. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How y'all doing? Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for allowing me to be on here.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe we'll go college, high school. So Tass, why don't we start with you? Tass, tell us a little bit about you.
I am currently, I guess I graduated, so I'm not that major anymore. I'm a psych major, minor. I went to Loyola Marymount University in LA. And I consider myself an international student. I grew up abroad in Abu Dhabi, like UAE, Dubai. And that's a little bit about myself. I will actually, sorry, I'm going to say that.
Thank you. Let's go to you, Kalitri. Tell us about yourself.
Graduating from Oakridge High School,
Oakridge
National Honor Society. Play football. I'm attending St. Thomas University in Miami to study business administration. Play football.
Woo! Did you say business administration?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, wonderful. I think that's a great segue. Jewel, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Jewel. I'm Joellen's sister, actually. I just graduated from UC Berkeley, Cal, as a business major. Yeah. What
Go ahead.
Questions? I'm sorry.
No, we just want to know a little bit about yourselves. Instead of trying to introduce you, we thought we'd let you do the honors.
Oh, why, thank you. Well, yeah, that's about it for now. That's my current event.
Beautiful. Thank you. Beisha, tell us about yourself.
Beisha, we can't hear you.
Beisha.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Beisha. I'm graduating Loma Linda Academy this year. I'm a senior.
Okay.
I'm Joel's cousin, and that's pretty much it.
That is awesome. You guys, I'm so excited again that you are here. Oh my gosh. Will you tell us a little bit about your high school and college experience? Any, mini, miny.
You want the whole thing?
I mean, if you could condense that not into 4 years, that'd be great. So, like, if we could do that.
Just tell us about your senior year experience, because I know it's been tumultuous, right? It started off probably amazing, and the end was bittersweet, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I actually transferred to UC Berkeley from a community college, so I was only there for 2 years, and my 2 years went by like super quick. Like when I blinked, I was a senior, and like one day I'm like ready to take a test the next week, and then the next day I'm not going to class anymore. And like I guess we had like a little bit of a warning. He was like, hey, like there's some things going on with coronavirus. Nobody was really taking it that seriously. It sounded like another like fake story, honestly. And because it didn't start here, we didn't have like cases yet. Like it didn't seem like a real thing. So we didn't think school was actually going to get canceled. But then everything just went online super fast. My teachers didn't really know how to operate online. So things changed. I mean, yeah.
Overnight.
Yeah, definitely.
I can definitely I can sympathize with your story, Jewel, because I remember Joe coming to my classroom on March 16th, which was our last day in the physical school building. And when our district announced that we were going to be out for 6 weeks, we were like, 6 weeks? No way. Because most of the districts around us had decided to go out of school for 2 weeks. So we thought 6 weeks was egregious and a little bit too much. And little did we know we'd be 2 months down the road, and 6 weeks we would have taken gladly.
Right. Yeah. It's been definitely a change, a transition. Yeah. And I commend you guys for being teachers and working through it with grace.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Kalitri, can I tell you got some fans? You got some fans out here. You got Mr. Bravo out here talking about you fully grown, you know? And you got Patty Knowles out here. So you got fans. You have fans.
Patty Knowles, my mother.
Oh, well, she is probably, I wasn't wrong. She's your biggest fan. You know, if I'm sure
of course.
And she's also a phenomenal educator as well. I learned a lot from her during my time working together with her. A science teacher at that. Shout out.
Oh, come on. Yes, women in STEM. Women in STEM. Oh, my goodness. Well, Kalitri, tell your fans, because we got to practice. You're going to have lots of fans when you're out there playing football, business admin, So tell your fans about your school experience.
Senior year, it was a lot. That's how I start by saying it was a lot. It started off all good, I remember like the highlight of my senior year is just homecoming week. Everything happened. We had homecoming week, like my whole senior class, we came together. It was like a family. We became really close. And then like the homecoming dance was all fun. The game, we had a good game. I scored a touchdown. It was a whole great thing. That was one thing to remember. And then just casually just drifting throughout the school year, and then it becomes our spring break is like a week long. An extra week long. So we're like, okay, that's not a problem. And then it goes from we'll be back in school March 30th to now we'll be back in school April 15th. And then it's like what's going on? So then it goes from April 15th to April 30th to then not March, but May 30th to the rest of the year. And it's like,
oh wow.
Yeah, that's how we got it broke into. Like they broke it into periods, but like the whole time I was thinking like if this is really getting bad, I don't think we'll go back to school. So like I always try and prepare for the worst, and hope for the best. But in a situation like this with coronavirus and just how rapidly it was spreading, how people were dying, like I wouldn't want to go back to school either. Like a lot of my classmates were upset and stuff about not going back to school, and you gotta look on the bright side. There's people dying. That's how I looked at it. There's people dying. People are losing mothers, sisters, babies, brothers, all that. And I just looked at it as an opportunity because I feel like as a country, how do I say it? As a country, we were in the dark. We didn't know what to do. We were confused. So
speak on it.
I try to encourage like my classmates and others just to stay up, even though it's hard that you can't walk the stage like you've seen the previous class do. That your story is different, and you're here for a reason. So that's how I looked at it.
Mm-hmm. Well said.
Give me a
Yeah,
second.
no, take your time.
Yeah.
You're a man making
I just
moves.
got to the house. I'm sorry. I just got...
Oh my goodness. Can I
I'm
just say,
sorry.
like, could you imagine being on spring break and that's when you find out that you're not going back to school? Like, you don't even have the opportunity to like have any kind of closure, like conversation, like at school. The uncertainty that must have brought about, like, I'm very impressed by the mental state and the positive thinking and the silver lining that Kalitri was able to like create. That's incredible. That's incredible.
You know, Joe, I want to really, I actually really want to ask this question right now because Kalichi sort of alluded to it. For all of you, right? And maybe we start with Jewel. Like, what did your schools do in regards to graduation? I know there's a lot of schools in the Northeast, like the school that me and Joe work at. They're still planning their graduation and they're really trying to honor the students that have graduated and put in so much hard work and effort. But what has your school done? Did they have a virtual graduation? Did they do nothing? Did they send you a certificate? Tell us.
Well, see, my school, I guess initially when we first like started our virtual education, it was more like graduation is postponed, right? So we didn't know what was going to happen, and then finally they sent out like a survey to all the seniors asking us. Sorry, 1 second.
You know.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so they sent out a survey to all of the seniors asking whether or not they wanted to have a virtual graduation, have a graduation in July, hoping that it would be done by then, or in December for like winter graduation for the next year, or we would just graduate with next year's seniors, right? And so I guess everyone who took the survey kind of decided that we didn't want a virtual graduation, so we didn't have anything. Like so we kind of like, I can't think of her name right now, but they sent out like a video kind of congratulating us, like the faculty, and I guess it was nice, but it just wasn't the same, you know. And then when I saw that some of my cousins were having virtual graduations, it kind of was a bummer to me because I don't live close to any of my family members, so like I can't have like a drive-by graduation, and I didn't have a virtual graduation, so it was kind of just like, oh, okay, well, I graduated, but like I guess that's it, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, but ultimately I'm grateful to have finished and to have my bachelor's. So yeah.
They can't take that away from you.
All right.
So alluding to your question before, Joellen, about like finding out over spring break, that's exactly how I found out. I was in Paris.
Shoot.
And I had like literally my phone was flooded with messages. My parents were like, "You need to go to the airport right now." A friend just said like, "Oh, you should be in a car." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I wasn't even focusing on the news. Like I was just trying to enjoy my vacation. And then I get all these texts like, "Oh, travel ban on Friday," and all these things. I was like, I don't know what they're talking about. I was like, I'm just trying to like enjoy my week off. And so thankfully like our flights were on Friday. So the day that we landed back into the States was like the day that they like had to cut off. For international flights, but honestly it didn't really matter because we're US citizens, which was a great, but yeah, that's also another thing that like speaking about this whole corona things that the fear that a lot of people don't read into like the actual news or understanding what information is being spread and how it applies to you or the people around you, and a lot of it's just essentially like misinformation, because if you actually understood, there would be no fear with like me coming back into the country because I am an American citizen. But nonetheless, speaking about graduation, my school had they had us like essentially prepare a slide, like you submitted a picture and a quote or caption more or less, and then they essentially had like all the graduating seniors, they had a slide that like you press on it and it would speak your name, but it was like an automated voice. And then and you had
an automated voice.
Yeah.
Like Siri saying your name?
Kinda, yeah, basically like the slide, it would speak, but the name obviously. And what else did they do? Oh, we had a pre-recorded presidential address, which was I guess like 20 minutes or so. Yeah, that's how they were able to like commemorate us in that time. But then we had a lot of other like small groups like BSU, our international group, I forget what other like subgroup organizations had their own ceremony to honoring their own seniors in those sections. And try to make it more fun and interactive by having like a senior week versus like a day. And they're trying to also reincorporate that for like when we're all able together. But yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like your school they took quite a few measures. They tried to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, they did their best.
Okay.
For my graduation, what we're doing is a drive-by. They kind of asked for our input on what we wanted to do, but they didn't really listen because we have a conference that we have to run everything by, and we're required to get our diplomas on June 7. So we have to have some type of graduation then. So we're doing a drive-by, and it's like, it's kind of sad because you don't get to graduate with any of your friends, and how much family gets to go. And so it's just a car full of people. What I'm doing is I'm putting people in my truck, in the back of my truck, so I can have a lot of family there because, you know, I have family there. And then I'm going to have a party after, but I just wish that we could have a normal graduation, but I guess this is good enough.
Kalitri?
All right, yeah. Now that I'm out of the car and out of that rainy weather here in Florida.
Oh, it's raining?
What Oak Ridge did, yeah, it's raining. It was raining in Florida. Yeah, you guys are all bright and you're outside, and it's all dark and gloomy over here. But my school, Oak Ridge High School, they actually we're doing a virtual graduation, and they had us actually like send different types of clips in of us like smiling and clapping and stuff that they're gonna. I don't even know how it's gonna work, but that's what they're doing for us, and that's on June 5th. And actually tomorrow at 6 p.m. we're having a senior drive-through, which is like a celebration where we all take our cars and stuff. We just drive around the school, and there's going to be like family and friends can be out there, celebrate. Teachers will be out there. It's just going to be a whole good time and stuff. I also heard something about them continuing to do a graduation in July. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. We'll just see. We'll just see how this whole COVID-19 thing plays out. But they did say they have an idea of trying to do a graduation in July, and even something with Grad Venture, getting us all Grad Venture tickets still, renting out the park another day later in the year if the park opens back up. But I'm not sure if that will happen either because I heard Universal might not even open until 2021.
Ooh.
Dang. I mean, to be fair, I'm can I be honest? I'm surprised because like Florida out there lit. So like
Yeah, exactly.
You hear
Like,
that they're taking these precautions is I'm like, whoa, good for them. Yes, you probably shouldn't open a theme park.
Very reckless.
Right
I just don't think they understand the magnitude of it. Like, my friends were talking about it one day because we like to talk about this stuff, and they're like, "Why won't the parks open back up like anytime soon?" And I'm like, "Bro, don't you like? It takes one person. It takes one person to walk in that park with the virus, and then it's and then it's employee staff of the amusement park that can get the virus. Other people that's such a huge risk for the organization and the amusement park. They can lose so much money, get sued so much if something like that happens on their grounds. You know what I'm saying? It only takes one person.
100%. Oh my goodness. Well, I am sure that you feel kind of gypped, but also like listening to you all, I feel like you have taken this in stride. Like I'm impressed because I feel like I'm hurting more than like hearing y'all. You're like, but I have my bachelor's, but they tried, we're still going to kind of be together. Maybe there's something after. Oh, I'm going to have a party with my family after, you're really staying positive during this time. And I find that to be truly impressive.
I agree because, and I also want to commend, your schools for trying to be creative during this time, because I was heartbroken. I actually heard from a few of my former students that their schools literally didn't do anything, like nothing. They said, we're going to put your diploma in the mail. And they made one Facebook post with just all of their names, like all of the names of the graduates. And I was like, that's it? I was flabbergasted. I was like, come on, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah, right. This is one of the biggest, things that we like, the commencing moment. No, not commencing. The accumulating moment. Help me, English teacher. What is the C word that I am looking for? The culminating.
Culminating, yes.
Oh my goodness. I just had to think about it. What
Till we get there.
multisyllabic C word am I looking for right now? This is the culminating point. And for it to happen in the last semester, and then you're just like,
Right.
the mail. Speaking of which, like, I want to know, how did you feel supported? Looking back, do you feel like your teachers did a good job of supporting you during this transition? Were they understanding? Like, what adjustments were made? And if none, like, what would you have, if you could have been like, hey, teacher, do this thing, help me out? What would you have said? I'm seeing pensive faces. Whoever wants to start can start.
Oh, okay. I'll go. Because my story is actually, it's not deep, but it's like, it's crazy that I've never struggled with school, but I was really like this. I was really on the verge of not graduating just because I was struggling with online and like how everything was transitioning. I've always been a paper and pencil type of person, but it's like you have to be in front of me. You have to like instruct me like face to face for me to like catch on to it. So me having to sit here and do a bunch of research on how to do this, how to do that with government and watching all these videos and stuff, it was oh man, it was very stressing. It was very stressing to say the least. That I didn't like. I always trying to make sure my friends on track for graduation, that I was one struggling to graduate just because I couldn't finish one graduation required class that I had to do. They like all because of this virus and everything, just the transition. It was a rough process, but just with the help of my mom, she helped me so much, just helped me get through it. I'm so grateful that I was able to make sure that my guidance counselor told me that I was done and that I was good to graduate. Even with a good GPA, still failing one class could have messed me all up. I was able to push through. So
thank you, Patty. Mothers matter. Mothers matter.
Oh yeah, mothers matter.
Oh my goodness, that is amazing. I'm truly
sure.
glad to hear that. And was it that, like, what was the hardest part about, like, what were you talking to your teacher? Were you in communication with that government teacher? Were they being a little bit more lenient about grading, or was it just the same amount of work, same expectations?
They were very lenient. I will say that. He said, as long as you get everything in by the time like school officially ends, I'll pass you. Like that's all you need to do. And it's not even like they're all like light on the work. I will say they're all light on the work, and they're like, you just gotta do this, this, and that, and you'll be fine. So I try to run through everything, but it was just such a struggle of me. I guess it was a mind over matter type of thing that me getting up, coming down here, and getting on my computer, sitting here doing work for like 3 hours a day. I should graduate. I'll be fine. But it was like hard to me. It was like I was lazy, but at the same time, I would get on the computer and then like everything is in Canvas in front of me. Like he explained it in person, but like once I'm here at home and it's in Canvas, I have to look through all this stuff and try to understand it. It's way more of a difficult process. So yeah, there were a lot of emails and a lot of exchanges.
With this whole Zoom, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Please.
With the whole Zoom process, one thing that I guess realized the most was a lot of the teachers essentially are ill-equipped for this online instruction, and that honestly is a lot harder than the content they were teaching us or the courses themselves, because of their like inability to be effective. Like not that it's all in the educated themselves, but I guess that lack of skill in that sense really showed, and that impacted the way like us as students were able to to understand the material and also like connect with the teachers and have them actually feel like they were being effective, because they weren't. Like I've had teachers who didn't really know how to work certain systems, which made like we have like a Bright Spaces, the forum that we use, and they had other like more complicated ways where they sent quizzes to us all individually versus having them online and like us downloading them, and kind of little small things like that where you can see it's harder for them, and ergo they're more frustrated and slightly less lenient because of that, because they're also going through a lot, and we had to acknowledge that and want to be respectful. But it's also hard for them to accommodate us because we are all going through it, so they can't like it's hard for them to accommodate each person individually. And I have like some friends who had to go abroad who were up at like 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. going to class because that's where they were in the world, and had to actually be into that class, which would be my only request, which I've been to have more students that more teachers have asynchronous learning, where they like PowerPoint and upload it. I know like technically it's learning off of YouTube, But personally, I found that to be most effective because like waking up and turning on my computer, I go on my computer and do a lot of other dumb things. So like for me to do it for class, sometimes I have to like switch my brain, like no, focus. Like this is content, you know? So I know how to like train myself for that. And also I hear you, Kalichi, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Was like I was so lazy, you know. There's so many products I put on last moment, and I was up like a whole week just like grinding through them because I was, what did I do?
I'm doing essays and stuff. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
To backpack off what she said, that she made such a good point. It's I understand it's hard for us students it's so different when a teacher isn't prepared to teach distance learning and a student isn't prepared to learn distance learning. Like it's man. Like at Oak Ridge, I don't want to like, how do I say this? I don't want to say the wrong thing, but there's a lot of teachers that just do the least to get by as a teacher.
The bare
make sure
minimum.
the student graduates. Yeah, the bare minimum. There you go. And those I was hearing from my other friends, like those teachers got exposed, like they're not doing nothing. I'm sitting over here busting my behind, and then there's other kids that are sitting here like they have to log on and do attendance, and that's it. And I feel like that there's man, I don't understand. I just don't understand how that works. Like I'm sitting here busting my behind to try and graduate. Well, this kid who maybe, like, no offense, to maybe he didn't pay attention to school or didn't apply himself to school as much as I did, is just clicking, yes, I'm here to graduate.
Where's the equity in that?
No equity at all.
None. So I feel your pain on that. And I think Taz and Kalichi, you both, talked about that. We have to give ourselves some grace, the educators as well, because we're all going through it together. But at the same time, we want to uphold the standard of what a quality education should be. So we have to, do a little bit more sometimes. Maybe, as teachers, we need to go out and really practice the different forums or different applications that we planned on using ahead of time to try to make this as seamless as a process, or so I should say seamless as a transition as possible.
Right. And to Kalichi's point, it's like, because here's the thing. I value the struggle that you had to go through to graduate, not because I wanted you to struggle, absolutely not, but because, the learning never stops. It's something that we have said on the show over and over and over again, that like school is not in the building. School is where you are, and school is in session. And it behooves us as teachers to instill this work ethic, this ability to be adaptable to you, because I will tell you, adulthood is not without its challenges. And right now, yes, this is unprecedented for all of us. But we need to not just be like, oh, take it easy. That's not love. When we love our students, we make sure that we are equipping them in the hardest of times, especially, to get the tools they need to be successful later. So I know that was a struggle for you as well, Tass, and I'm sure Jewel and Baisha as well. I'm sure for all of you, right? But like for those who like truly had teachers who were working with them to try and equip them, like I want you to know, even though somebody maybe just clicked in for attendance, they actually did not get the longer stick. They got the short end of the stick, even though it may not look like that. So, my perspective.
Can I add something?
Yeah, please.
I would say that, like, so at Haas, the business school that I went to, one of our defining principles is student always. And like, I like that at the end of the semester, they send out a review of the class. And they ask, like, did your teacher uphold these principles, right? And I definitely believe that being a student always, like, is really important for teachers, for everyone. But like in this time, it was very important to like see if my teachers were able to uphold that principle, because it's like, do you remember what it was like when you were in my shoes, and how would you have wanted your teacher to react to the situation and evolve their curriculum when it comes to like online teaching. And so a lot of my teachers actually did. They were more lenient. They were like, okay, this is probably we can't do this like in person anymore, so we have to create a new activity for us to do that's going to help you with the same topic but in a different way now, know. And I will say that like it was harder to focus, like because you're not in a learning environment. Like you don't wake up, put on your clothes and go to class where everyone around you is focused on the same thing, So it's like you could have anything around you, right? So there could be chaos going on in your house, but you have to sit down and you have to be watching your teacher teach you about whatever it is and try to focus. So I would say that was definitely a challenge, an obstacle that I had to face. But I mean, we all got through it. So
you persevered. You overcame.
yes, absolutely.
Yes, y'all are over here, graduates. Come on. Nobody can take that from you. Nobody. Keith Sweat, nobody. Oh my
Can I
God.
continue on that?
Oh, please.
Yeah, you were saying like we are graduates. That's true, and that's why I always try to like tell my friends as hard as it is not being able to walk the stage. Like imagine walking the stage to get a certificate of completion. Like at the end of the day, the paper is the most important thing. And I always try to like they're, oh, we're not graduating, no prom, no this, no that. But yeah, the paper is what we worked 12 hard years for. I understand you wanted to walk, and yeah, that's hard. It is sad that you can't walk, but at the end of the day, I still want to hang that paper up on my wall saying that yes, I did graduate high school.
Right.
And you can, Kalitri, and that bachelor's is coming next. So congratulations. And Jewel, if I could just say before we get to our next question, thank you for basically like explaining that leniency doesn't mean not creating spaces to learn. Because I think that sometimes that gets confused, like, oh, so you just come and don't really give them work. You're just easy, fill in the blank. No. It's just a different avenue to access the same standards, the same materials, but giving credence to the fact that we are in this kind of novel time.
Right.
So thank you so much for touching on that. Thank you for understanding that and seeing that. That was incredible to hear. So to Kalitri's point, excuse me, sorry about that. To Kalitri's point, like you got that piece of paper and, we got our high school seniors off to college and we have our college graduates off to the workforce. So how has this affected you? Have your colleges talked to you about what college life is going to be like? Are you, going to be online in the fall? My workforce people, are you going to be do you have jobs out there? How are you preparing? What's the plan right now? How are you moving forward?
Personally, I didn't know what direction I wanted to head into or towards. I had a lot of pressure from I guess you can say society / family to head more financial or business oriented. And obviously I did have the want to head there, but I didn't know if it was my own want. And that was something that I realized that this whole coronavirus or opportunity gave me was the time to be still and think and reflect upon where I wanted to go as an individual, my own path and what that felt like, because I felt for too long, including college, I was just kind of going through the motions, I'm trying to get the A or what's easy class, it was an end goal process. While now I'm no, this is the rest of my life. The end goal would be death, and that's not my goal right now. So I'm let me enjoy my journey, And to do that, I had to take, or I'm still in the process of taking time and trying to figure out where I want to go and what that will look like. So that is my process, because the corona is letting me, I'm using the leniency that I was given to kind of propel me versus trying to being at a standstill with the way that different businesses are handling the hiring or not hiring process.
Oh, okay. Yes. You are using that time to reflect and figure out your next steps. That is beautiful. I would say that is very productive. Very productive. Jewel, Kalitri, how are you feeling about in the fall? Are you going to school, or is it online?
And what
how are you going to practice? You're playing football. Are you how do you tackle people?
Give me 6 feet on that tackle.
Flag football only. Sanitize the flags on.
I've actually been in contact. I've been in contact with my recruiting coach. Actually, we talk almost daily, probably weekly, about just everything about life. Actually, how I'm doing, how I'm holding up, and it went from them sending me a whole itinerary of what to do in the gym, certain workouts, how many reps, how much weight to do, to now I got to do this at home, push-up, planks, sprints, all these different stuff I have to do at home. So they're still on me and they're still focused on football, but at the same time they want to make sure that we're okay and that we're still prepared for college. As of right now, I'm still prepared to move out in late July and be there in August. Hopefully, I haven't heard anything or they haven't said anything about us being online yet, because school starts August 24th for me. But football workouts start in the beginning of August, so I have to be there in the beginning of August. But as of right now, I don't. Still preparing to move, I guess is what I can say. I haven't heard anything about us staying or being online or anything. So.
Fair. Lucky you. That I mean, is that nerve-wracking? I know you've talked about like the seriousness of like us taking this serious and you know, keeping distance and things like that. But are you nervous about going back on campus, like, or you feel like they're going to take the necessary precautions to keep you safe?
I feel like they are, but maybe not the city where I'm moving to, because I'm moving to Miami, Florida, which is a very hot spot for coronavirus. Which, yeah. So it's a little half and half. Like my school, they canceled all their orientations on campus, and we did virtual orientations. So they are making strides. I think at one point they had no students on campus, but I just know that they're making strides. But it's just, you never know. You never know. Like I said, it can only take one person. 99 people can be careful, but if one doesn't, then everyone's messed up.
Ooh, maybe. Yes, people need to hear that. Like, can we just put that everywhere? Like, that is why. You would sound by it, right? This is why. This is why it takes all of us. It's a collective effort. A collective effort. What about you, Jewel? Entering the workforce, business administration. Are there jobs? How you doing?
Well, I also didn't, I can relate to Tass that I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do leaving college, because business is a very wide field with a range of things that you can go into. So I wasn't sure, but actually, like this whole shelter in place thing has been a blessing to me, because I got like a it's part-time, but I'm a leasing consultant, and it's kind of teaching me a lot of skills that I would have wanted to learn anyway. So I'm doing this while I'm looking for other things as well. So I guess like in a way it's been a blessing, because I mean, I didn't know what I wanted to do before. So it's not like I had plans and it ruined them or something, or I'm having to like work at a new job virtually. So it's just like, I think this is a good time to kind of reflect on what your passion is, like what your interests are, what you want to do with yourself. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now, because I'm just working through this job that I have now, and we'll see where I end up.
Understood, because I mean, Joe and I both, we're continuing our education, and we're still trying to figure things out. We're getting new information daily, trying to figure out what decision come next, or what steps come next based on the decisions of the institution. I know I have a big decision that's coming up in a few weeks, because my university, Harvard University, that I'm going to, or I was supposed to go to in the fall, they have made a lot of changes to the way that school is going to be, or will normally be, constructed. And for some of the programs at the school, they're actually postponing them for an entire year. So there are going to be some students that are just not going to have the opportunity to go to class in any capacity. So I hear what you're saying. We're all trying to figure it out.
Absolutely. So in closing, if you have an educator shout out, like somebody who blessed your life, we'd love to hear that. And if you don't really have one, would you give us a suggestion? Would you give other students who are coming into this position of the unknown, because next year for some is still unknown, what suggestions, what from your wisdom can you give them? So either an educator that impacted you, and if you're like, give a suggestion to those coming behind you.
Oh. I personally don't have an educator that like shaped me or anything, but I started realizing later on the importance of office hours, and that obviously that's the time that like the teacher has like to a lot to see students, but a lot of times, believe it or not, students don't really go to see their teachers. and actually going there on your own, even if they're like, okay, pro tip for grades, if you're not doing that well, just do it. Say hello, do your thing. They'll like you. But second of all, if you want to get to know
Definitely a pro
them,
tip.
that's the time for you to- it's true. It's true. Because they think you're doing more work by just staying after school for 10
Build a
minutes. Be
relationship.
like, yo, what's good? Did you try the coffee? No, you didn't. Sucks. And, like, you know, do what you need to do. But actually getting to know them, like understand who they are as people and like what formed them or like what got them to the place that they are in their lives is something that like I really enjoyed. And it kind of tells you that a lot of people have like different reasons why they're an educator. Someone's like they were just very passionate about like a topic, or some that was something that they had always known that they wanted to do. And it's interesting to see like their avenues of how they got to that same end goal, because it's not the same for everyone. And that's like, I guess that's my recommendation, because you can also form like lifelong friendships with some of your teachers, and they like do care about you as individuals. It's something that like I'm not saying that most teachers don't make you feel that way, but it's a way to kind of reaffirm that statement.
Okay, I'm gonna say that none of the teachers who actually taught me, like I mean, like they're all great in their own way, but I would say that one educator that definitely changed my perspective on learning is my sister, Joellen. Firstly, because like she's shown me like what it's like to be a teacher and what it's like when a teacher actually cares about you, and like the work that goes into being a teacher and the care for your students that you have. And like it's really changed, like, and how she wants to change the education system. So like really just like shout out to you, like you're amazing, and I can't wait to see like what you do, because you have such great ideas. And like in my opinion, the education system could definitely use some work, and you're looking like you're going to be a pioneer for that. So like kudos to you. Yeah, you're amazing.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I'm here for
like,
that.
don't cry on the podcast. Do not cry on the podcast. Do not cry on the podcast. I love you. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't have like a specific educator I want to pass that I like want to shout out, because like I had a village. I'm blessed enough to say I had a village to look out for me. Like Mr. A, he's a part of my village. So like I can't go one by one shout everyone out, but I will shout out in general. I will shout out teachers like you guys. They're not at home sitting here just watching TV. They're, you know, making a stand. You know, actually looking out for students, going above and beyond. I want to shout out you guys, because like I said, you could be at home watching TV and your paycheck wouldn't look any different as long as you did what you had to do on your computer. Your paycheck looks the same as everyone else. But you guys decided to go above and beyond. You know, like putting in the after hours. Like I appreciate that.
Thank you. We appreciate you, because more than you know, our students really fuel us. They energize us. So we've been feeling, you know, depressed and disconnected, just like you guys have, because stepping into the classroom each and every day, when you're an educator and this is your passion, that's where you draw, you know, that's your life source. That's where you draw so much energy from. So thank you for saying that. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. And again, we want to give you the biggest congratulations. And I want to make sure you know youth voices matter. Like, please make your voice heard. Go in there and take the reins of your life and the world by storm. You see a problem you want to fix it. You are powerful. You are powerful, and you are truly our future. And we want, like I said to the photography, who did I say this to? Underwood Photography. And I said, you know, I really think we feel good with leaders who are being cultivated, leaders that look like you coming up. And, you know, all of you in here are Black, educated, young people, and we need more. You are examples, not only for us, but for those coming behind you. Remember that. You are worthy. You are incredible. You can make a difference.
Without a doubt. I second that statement. Thank you again to all of you guys for coming. We really appreciate your voices, your opinions, for sharing and giving us your time, because your time is your most valuable resource. You don't get this moment back. So thank you so much for being here. And I want to remind everybody again, make sure you are following us at 2B Podcast That's at that's I almost said the letter. Excuse me. Number 2 and the letters BE podcast. And again, we are live and direct on every single streaming platform: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, TuneIn Radio. Just Google us. You're gonna find us, okay?
Google me, baby. Oh my goodness. And in the meantime, remember
To be good to yourself.
to be true to yourself. To
educate
educate yourself.
Hey.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.